everyone, my name is Seth, and today I'm going to give you my review of Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. First things first, since it's still relatively new out in theaters, I'm going to have the first part of this review be spoiler-free. Second half, I'll get into some spoilers. I'll let you know whenever that's going to happen. Ant-Man and the Wasp stars Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, Michael Douglas, Catherine Newton, and Michelle Pfeiffer. It is the 31st MCU film, and it came out on February 17th. Before I go any farther, go ahead and like the video, hit subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you can get notified when I upload a new video. If you look at it right now, I believe the critic score is about a 47%, and then the audience scores are about at 84%. So just starting off real quick, I think I agree a little bit more with the audience. I lean more towards them. I'm a little bit more positive on it than a lot of the critics are. I had a lot of fun with this. It is super weird, crazy, super duper sci-fi, so it might not be for everybody. So I do understand how critics are split. Starting off with some of the story, the background from the trailers, Ant-Man and his family gets sucked into the quantum realm and they have to figure out a way out. That's really the bulk of the story. There's not a ton of extra twists and turns in it. That's really the bulk of the story. They get sucked into the quantum realm within like the first 5 minutes maybe, and then just about the whole movie is there, and the whole plot is them trying to escape the quantum realm. The director, Peyton Reed, said in interviews beforehand that he wanted this movie to be more of like an Avengers level film. He said he recognized that Ant-Man and Ant-Man and the Wasp were more of like a palate cleanser after like the big Marvel movies that came before it, and he wanted to be like the big kind of tentpole film. And I think he accomplished that to a degree. The scope of this film and what it means for the Marvel Universe going forward does have big implications. But when you think of a solo movie being like an Avengers level film, you really think of something like Captain America Civil War, and it doesn't quite get to that level. But still, I think he got relatively close to accomplishing what his goal was with that. Parts of this movie really do have kind of a Star Wars vibe to it. As far as performances go, Paul Rudd was awesome as Ant-Man once again. You're still going to find the Ant-Man humor in this, even though you're missing some of the side characters from the first two, you know, like with the ex-con group. Those guys played a big role in the previous two movies, and they're not here. But you still do have the Ant-Man charm and the Ant-Man humor. Although not all of it lands, I would say for me, the majority of it does. Jonathan Majors as Kang is absolutely perfect. He is the big shining star of this movie. Everything with Kang was fantastic. I really wanted more with Kang. And with Kang Dynasty coming up in a couple years, I really think the MCU will be on a good trajectory. And I think it's in safe hands with Jonathan Majors playing Kang. He was so menacing, he was so threatening. You really had the questions like, how are these guys going to beat Kang? And that's what I love from a villain. That's what I want from a villain from a superhero story. You know, put the characters up against a formidable opponent, and I want that question to be in the back of my head. It's like, wow, how are they gonna get out of this one? It might come as no surprise, but Michael Douglas and Michelle Pfeiffer were awesome. They did a great job. I just wish that there was more Michael Douglas. I love Michael Douglas. He's awesome. He's awesome in this. I think this movie also proves kind of what you might see from the What If animated show on Disney Plus, that Hank Pym could potentially be one of the most dangerous people in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And lastly, Catherine Newton as Cassie Lang. I thought she did a very good job. I feel like this character had the potential to be kind of annoying, if she was like completely helpless, but I feel like she was written well enough and performed well enough by Catherine Newton that I really liked her character. I thought the action in this movie was done very well. The only complaint from that I had is, really, since we're in the quantum realm, you kind of just lose a little bit not really knowing exactly the scale of things. In the other Ant-Man movies, if he shrinks down, you can see what he's compared to like the first one, like a record player or a shower or something like that, a pencil, whatever. I do think you lose a little bit of perspective when they shrink or when they grow in this movie. Another negative I will bring up is I did not like MODOK in this movie. I really feel like it would have been better if he just wasn't in the movie at all. I really didn't have a problem with the CGI for the most part. I will say the CGI with MODOK, when he had his mask on, I thought that was fine. But it was when he took his mask off that I think it ran into a little bit of problems there. I understand the character of MODOK. He looks ridiculous in the comics, and it's very hard to get that done in live action, but there was just something kind of uncanny valley about it. There was a few times, if you know the technology, you could tell that they were working on the volume stage. So if you're familiar with that technology, whether it be from some of the Disney Plus shows or not, there will be a few parts in this film where you can kind of recognize like that's where they were using it. There was just one creature also that I think just didn't really look good. Not that the design was bad or anything, it was really more just like, I guess, the attention to detail, really. They really had to make you believe you were in this world, and there was so much CGI, but I think the majority of it was good. So to recap kind of this non-spoiler part of the review, I had a ton of fun with it. It's super sci-fi, super weird, so it might not be for everybody, but I would still recommend it. Jonathan Majors was awesome. He was fantastic. I can't think of enough words to say how good he was in this role, and I'm so excited that he's going to be one of the main villains of the MCU going forward in the next few years. So I will go ahead and give my score here. I will give it 3.5 out of 5 stars. I do not think the MCU is in any trouble. I am not concerned with the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think it was a good time, and I would recommend seeing it if you haven't already. So this is it. This is the spoiler section. We're here. If you have not seen the movie and you want to, pause this, go see it, come back. Just so we're clear, I'm about to talk about some spoilers here. First thing I wanted to mention in the spoiler section is about MODOK. I did not like him in this movie. I don't think he needed to be there. He ends up dying after having a conversation kind of with Cassie during the last big battle. And he ends up attacking Kang. He ends up dying from that. I think they could have done something so much better with that. I think they had him do that just because they needed him to die at the end of the movie. They were done with that character, and I do not think that was well done at all. I feel like they didn't carry through with all of the themes and the stories that they set up in the beginning. With them having to get Cassie out of jail in the beginning and them having that conversation and basically doing the whole with great power comes great responsibility thing. I understand having Scott at a point after everything he's been through just to kind of try to chill, try to relax, just, promote his book, promote his podcast, whatever he's doing, and to kind of lose track of the look out for the little guy mentality that he's had. But I don't think that they followed up with that very well in the story. I feel like a lot of the characters kind of ended up at the same place where they started. Maybe Scott at the end, when he was willing to sacrifice himself in the quantum realm to keep both him and King there from escaping. Maybe that was supposed to be following through on that theme, but I don't think that came across well, if that was the case. Throughout the movie, he was trying to stay as uninvolved with that freedom fighter group as possible. Cassie, on the other hand, was saying, like, hey, we need to help them. They need help. We can help. Why not help? That's what we're supposed to do. That's what we're supposed to do as heroes. And he really spent most of the movie trying to avoid that. Another thing I was a little sad to see about that is that Evangeline Lilly really wasn't in it that much. She was so good. She's such a good actress. She wasn't in the movie a lot. And then when she was on screen, she didn't have a ton to do. And let's talk quickly again about Jonathan Majors. He's awesome. I love it. His Kang is amazing in this. This is exactly what I wanted. This is like the year of Jonathan Majors with Creed 3 and, Devotion that just came out, and like he is everywhere, not only in Marvel but everywhere else. And I'm so excited for him to pop up and things going forward. It seems like he's basically going to be the villain of Loki season 2, which is awesome. And if I was in charge, I would love to see him pop up in like almost everything going forward until Kang Dynasty. I think that would make sense. Now, I don't necessarily believe that Kang is dead. It seems like he is, but then, at the end, Scott was kind of going through his inner monologue saying like, oh, we beat him, right? Did we? Right? I'm not necessarily saying that version is still around and that they didn't kill him or whatever. I think he has a chance to get back. If not, post-credit scene show, we got plenty of Kangs to go through. And I think that's going to be a whole lot of fun. I'm here for it. I love Jonathan Majors. So, that's my review of Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. I had a lot of fun with it. Not the perfect movie, but I still enjoyed my time with it. And I will definitely watch it again. And I think it is a solid addition to the MCU. Although it may not actually be a great last movie in a trilogy, I do think it is a great stepping stone and starting point going forward, leading up to Kang Dynasty and everything in between. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Go ahead and like the video, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you get notified for when I upload a new video. And I'll see you guys next time.